I'm the Population Health Program Coordinator here at Ellenville Regional Hospital, and today we're going to be talking about National Nutrition Month, which is March, and we have Brittany Reitano, our nutritionist, to interview and ask some questions. So our first question is, Brittany, why did you become a nutritionist?
So I decided to become a nutritionist because I've always had an interest and a passion for nutrition, and just understanding, the different ways to incorporate healthy foods into my meals. I think it's important to understand new nutrition standards, and I also, growing up, I've had to help my family with different types of, cooking and diet management skills for diabetes, low sodium. So I kind of just grew up really being more interested in nutrition overall. So I decided to go to school for it, and I also think it's important for everybody else to be educated on nutrition, because there does seem to be a little bit of a lack of education when it comes around that topic. And I think me being able to bring this to our community and be able to help them live a healthier lifestyle is one of the major reasons why I decided to go into this job in this position, and that's kind of what I love most about this position.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a fun way to help people too, like food. Everyone loves food in different ways, and it's just a matter of finding what works and what's healthier. Yep. So what makes nutrition so important, and what does it really bring into our lives?
So eating healthier obviously is very important because we really should know more about what we are consuming and what we are putting inside our bodies. I think our biggest thing is we need to be an advocate for ourselves, and so being educated again on nutrition, but understanding portion control, the nutrition facts label, what everything kind of means when you're reading a nutrition facts label when you're at a grocery store, all of that, plus exercise too, right? Because exercise obviously is very important as well, and making sure that you're incorporating both of those as much as you can within your day. I feel like both of those would have a huge impact on life expectancy, and also help reduce the risk of developing any chronic diseases.
Yeah. Wow. So are there any misconceptions when it comes to nutrition?
Yeah, so I think for the most part, a lot of, my clients will come to me and say because, they might be being put on maybe a low sodium or lowered sugar, diet, or just trying to figure out exactly how to eat healthier overall. They think that they can't eat, or there's what foods am I able to have? And so I think the misconception there is that there's a ton of healthy foods you can have that still taste great, that just aren't overly processed and have a lot of empty calories. So you can still eat, the main point is you eat multiple meals a day, but they're smaller meals, and so you'll still feel full, actually maybe even fuller than you normally would, because empty calories don't do anything for your body. It doesn't give you any nutrients or anything. So if you're eating healthier foods with more vegetables, proteins, that will also, make sure that you're developing those nutrients and you'll feel fuller throughout the day.
Could you explain a little bit more what an empty calorie is and what that means?
So an empty calorie is basically where, if we all need calories in our diet, right? It's important because carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates, and proteins are two of the biggest sources for energy. So if you're having empty calories, what that meaning obviously is that you're consuming foods that don't have any type of nutrients, no vitamins, no minerals, and your body's not getting anything from those foods. So it's basically breaking down those foods into glucose, which again could elevate blood sugar levels, and it's not giving the body any type of nutrients to function throughout the day.
Right. All right. So yeah, making sure that the calories that you are having aren't empty calories, so that you can do all of the things that you want to do.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
Great. And then what are 3 simple nutrition takeaways?
So the first one I would say is to eat an array of colors when you're having your meals and your meal planning. You want to make sure you eat the colors of the rainbow. And that's because eating all types of fruits and vegetables, each color does represent different type of nutrients that our bodies need to function throughout the day. So, whenever you have the chance, it's always good to make sure that you're eating a plate full of different colors, and making sure you're giving your body exactly what it needs to function throughout the day. The second one is to always make sure you're staying hydrated. I know it's a very probably like cliche thing to say, but being hydrated is very important for nutrition and also just living a healthier lifestyle in general, because drinking more water can help reduce blood pressure and blood sugar levels. It can help, just make you have more energy throughout the day. It helps with moods. And so drinking water is really important, and ideally the water intake for everyone should be roughly about 8 to 10, 8-ounce glasses of water a day. But again, that's kind of the recommended intake. When I meet with my clients, I kind of start them off, say they're not somebody that normally has a high intake of water. We'll start off doing maybe like 1 to 2 8-ounce glasses of water a day, and just try and be consistent with it, starting off small and kind of working our way up from there. And we, in our wellness bag, we do give a free infused water bottle, which also helps with giving people that opportunity and that tool to stay hydrated. So if you're not a big water drinker and you're trying to drink more water, but you need more flavor, putting some fruits and vegetables inside the cylinder for the water infuser really helps kind of increase your water intake. And then lastly, the third nutrition takeaway is just be your own advocate when it comes to consuming foods. Again, being able to read a nutrition facts label when you go to the grocery store, understanding how much sodium and sugars are in the foods that you're buying. I think that's really important, because sometimes we'll just look out on the box and it'll say organic or healthy.
Right.
And it's like, a lot of it's obviously marketing strategies, which is good for, the people putting out the product. But for us, it's, we really have to make sure we are actually consuming the right healthy foods for ourselves, and we're giving our families healthier food choices too.
All right. Great. Well, thank you so much for those little takeaways.
Yes.
And then my next question is, what is your favorite fun fact when it comes to nutrition?
So I actually found it very fascinating that apples, pears, peaches, plums, and then even cherries are actually all in the same family as a rose, a flower.
Oh.
Yeah, so I found that quite fascinating because, when like a apple tree or cherry tree is blooming, you can actually go up to the flower and it'll smell like roses. So the next time you go out to, an apple farm or an orchard or something, and they're blooming, maybe you can, take a whiff and hopefully it'll smell like roses. But I do find that's kind of interesting that they're all kind of the same family.
Yeah, I certainly did not know that, so I'll have to keep my eyes and my scent out for that one.
Yeah.
And then another little silly question, but is it possible to eat too many vegetables?
So not really. It is recommended servings is 5 to 6 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. If you, do, I don't really think there's a way to really overconsume. The only issue is, however, you have to just be mindful of how much fiber intake you're getting from the fruits and vegetables, because if you are overdoing it on a lot of foods that might have higher intakes of fiber, like darker leaf green vegetables and things like that, spinach and romaine lettuce, things like that, that can, you can get some symptoms of having too much fiber, so like an upset stomach and things like that. So you want to just be more mindful of that, and if you are having those symptoms, obviously you can speak to a doctor and just let them know that is occurring, but also then just minimize your amount of how many fibrous foods you're eating.
Okay, great, thank you. And then what is a good way or a way that you recommend that people include more vegetables into their diet?
So I think the best way for people to include more vegetables in their diet is to add them to basically any type of recipe you can. There's so many different ways you can add vegetables. Breakfast, you can add them to omelets. You can include it in having like an avocado sandwich. You can have tomatoes with that, and even an egg, so there's so many different types of recipes, including, obviously lunch and dinner, a different array of ways you can include it. Plus there's so many different ways to cook vegetables that you can definitely incorporate at least 2 to 3 vegetables that way. I also think that another way to do it, if you're not really big on maybe consuming it, is to put them in smoothies.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think that's kind of important because if you have a smoothie and you're not even realizing that you're having certain vegetables in it because it tastes more like the fruit because it's a little bit sweeter, then you're at that point getting 1 to 2, maybe 3 at most servings of vegetables then too.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a favorite vegetable and a favorite way to eat it?
That's a good question. So I actually really love spinach.
Okay.
And I kind of will eat spinach anyway. I'll put it in smoothies. I will eat it, just in a salad, like raw. But I also like to saute it too. So I'll have it with my dinner.
I love sauteing with a little bit of garlic.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yes. All right. And then my last question is, what are some of the healthiest cooking methods or cooking strategies?
So the healthiest cooking methods and strategies would be to bake your foods, to steam them, you can grill them, boil them, basically anything other than like deep frying them, because that obviously that has a lot more saturated fats because of the oils, etc. There are healthy oils such as olive oils and things like that, but most of the time when you're using a deep fryer, it's developing more excess oil than you need in your body. I know nowadays too they have an air fryer, so that's another option you can kind of play around with too. But I do recommend trying to saute, bake, steam. Those seem to be the healthiest ways to cook your vegetables and other foods too, protein and stuff.
Well, thank you so much for answering all of my questions and giving us so many different nice tips about nutrition. So if you have any more questions for Brittany or are interested in any nutrition counseling or what else our wellness program has to offer, you can give us a call at 845-647-6400, extension 215, or you can call Brittany directly at extension 209. Thank you so much for joining us today and happy Nutrition Month.